The glass doors of the Maison Vellieux flagship store on Rodeo Drive gleamed under the July 2025 sun, reflecting the bustling elegance of Beverly Hills. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of bespoke leather and the faint hum of exclusivity. Emma Larson, a 35-year-old tech entrepreneur whose AI startup had just secured a $200 million valuation, stepped into this temple of luxury with quiet confidence. Her Hermes Kelly bag, a rare crimson shade that whispered wealth without screening it, swung gently at her side. She wore a tailored cream blazer and silk trousers, her blonde hair pulled into a sleek chignon. Emma wasn't here to flaunt. She was here to find the perfect haute couture gown for a charity gala she was sponsoring, an event that would draw Los Angeles elite. But within minutes, the polished veneer of Maison Vellieux would crack, revealing a world where appearances trumped respect, and Emma's carefully curated poise would be tested. The store was a cathedral of opulence. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light across marble floors, and shelves gleamed with the iconic Vellieux monogram bags, each a status symbol costing as much as a small car. Mannequins draped in silk and sequins stood like sentinels, showcasing the brand's latest haute couture collection. Maison Vellieux, with its 80-year legacy and interlocking V logo, was a titan in the luxury world, rivaling the likes of Chanel and Hermes. Its Rodeo Drive location was a magnet for celebrities, influencers, and the ultra-wealthy, a place where every transaction felt like a coronation. But today, the air carried a subtle tension, as if the store itself knew a storm was brewing. Emma approached a glass counter, her eyes scanning the display of silk scarves and gold-plated accessories. She was no stranger to luxury. She'd built her fortune from scratch, navigating the male-dominated tech world with grit and brilliance. Yet, she carried herself with a rare humility, a trait forged from years of being underestimated as a young woman with Nordic roots in a cutthroat industry. Her goal was simple: find a gown that would command attention at the gala, without overshadowing its cause-supporting women in STEM. She waited patiently, expecting the kind of service Maison Vellieux was famous for. But the staff had other priorities. Across the store, a group of influencers was staging an impromptu TikTok shoot, their laughter echoing as they posed with Vellieux monogram bags. Two employees, Mia and Ethan, hovered around them, offering fawning compliments and fetching items from the back. Emma caught Mia's eye and smiled politely, raising a hand to signal her interest. Mia, a wiry brunette with a practiced smile, glanced at Emma, then turned back to the influencers, dismissing her with a flick of her eyes. Emma's smile faltered, but she brushed it off. Maybe they're just busy, she thought. Minutes ticked by. The summer heat pressed against the store's glass facade, and Emma, parched from her walk down Rodeo Drive, approached the counter again. "Excuse me," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Could I get a glass of water while I wait?" Ethan, a lanky young man with a slick-back ponytail, didn't even look up from arranging a display. "We don't do that here," he muttered, his tone implying she'd asked for a free handbag. Emma blinked, stunned. She wasn't used to being dismissed, not anymore. Her company, Neural Nest, had just been featured in Forbes, and her Hermes bag alone could pay a year's rent for most people in the city. But she swallowed her pride and tried again. "I'd like to see the new haute couture gowns," she said, addressing Olivia Carter, the store manager, who had just emerged from the back. Olivia, a statuesque woman in her 40s with a severe bob and a Vellieux silk scarf pinned like a badge of honor, sized Emma up. Her eyes lingered on the Hermes bag, then flicked to Emma's face with a hint of skepticism. "The haute couture pieces are quite exclusive," Olivia said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable with our ready-to-wear collection from last season?" She gestured toward a rack of outdated dresses, their colors faded under the store's relentless lighting. Emma's jaw tightened. She wasn't a fashion novice. She knew Maison Vellieux's latest collection had debuted at Paris Fashion Week, and she'd seen the glowing reviews on X. "I'm here for the new season," she said, her tone steady but edged with steel. "I'm attending a high-profile event and need something from the current line." Olivia's lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course," she said, but instead of fetching the gowns, she handed Emma a lookbook and turned to assist the influencers, who were now giggling over a $12,000 Vellieux clutch. The dismissal stung. Emma stood there, clutching the lookbook, her cheeks burning with a mix of embarrassment and anger. She wasn't just a customer. She was a woman who'd fought tooth and nail to earn her place in a world that often judged her before knowing her. In the tech industry, she'd faced boardrooms that doubted her expertise. Here, in a store built on the promise of exclusivity, she was being judged for reasons she couldn't fathom. Was it her understated style? Her lack of a social media entourage? Or simply the staff's assumption that she didn't belong in their rarefied world? The influencers' laughter grew louder, and Emma caught a snippet of their conversation. "Can you believe how many likes this bag got last week?" Mia was nodding eagerly, practically curtsying as she offered to gift-wrap their purchases. Emma's patience snapped. She approached Olivia again, her voice low but commanding. "I've been waiting for 20 minutes. If you're too busy, I can take my business elsewhere." Olivia's eyes narrowed, and she replied with a saccharine smile, "We're doing our best, ma'am. Perhaps you can come back another day." The ma'am felt like a slap, a deliberate jab at Emma's age and perceived irrelevance. Humiliation coiled in Emma's chest, but she refused to let it show. She set the lookbook down with deliberate care, picked up her Hermes bag, and walked out, the glass doors hissing shut behind her. The California sun felt harsher now, amplifying her frustration. As she strode down Rodeo Drive, passers-by glanced at her, unaware of the fire igniting within. Emma wasn't one to wallow. She was a problem solver, a strategist. And as she pulled out her phone to draft an email to Maison Vellieux's corporate office, a plan began to form. This wasn't over. That evening, in her sleek downtown LA penthouse, Emma sat at her glass dining table, her laptop open to the Maison Vellieux website. She typed a detailed complaint, outlining the staff's dismissive behavior and Olivia's condescension. She mentioned her intent to purchase a gown for a high-profile gala, emphasizing her disappointment in a brand she'd once admired. She hit send, then called the corporate hotline, expecting an apology or at least a conversation. Instead, she was met with a curt voicemail promising a response within 48 hours. The indifference only fueled her resolve. Emma leaned back in her chair, her eyes narrowing. If Maison Vellieux thought they could brush her off, they were about to learn just how wrong they were in 2025. Rodeo Drive was more than a shopping street. It was a battleground of status and influence. Social media had transformed luxury retail, with brands like Maison Vellieux catering to influencers whose posts could make or break a collection. X was abuzz with stories of luxury shaming, where customers shared tales of being snubbed by high-end stores. Emma had seen the hashtags #luxuryfail, #retail real talk trending alongside videos of haughty salespeople and entitled influencers. She'd never thought she'd be part of that narrative, but now she was. And she wasn't about to let it slide. As the sun set over LA, casting an orange glow across her penthouse, Emma's mind raced. She wasn't just angry, she was determined. Maison Vellieux had made a mistake, and Emma Larson wasn't one to let mistakes go unaddressed. She picked up her phone and texted Sarah, her loyal assistant, and Rachel, her influencer friend with 1 million followers. *dinner tomorrow. We have a plan to make *. The seeds of revenge were planted, and Emma knew exactly how to make them grow. The glow of Los Angeles skyline spilled through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Emma Larson's downtown penthouse, casting sharp shadows across her minimalist living room. It was the evening after her humiliating experience at the Maison Vellieux store on Rodeo Drive, and Emma sat at her sleek glass dining table, her laptop open to an email that made her blood boil. The subject line read, "Your feedback is valued. Maison Vellieux Customer Care." The message was as sterile as the store's marble floors, a generic apology, a promise to review internal processes, and a 10% discount code for her next purchase. Emma scoffed, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She'd poured her frustration into a detailed complaint describing Olivia Carter's condescension, the staff's dismissal, and her disappointment in a brand she'd once admired, and this was their response? A coupon? She slammed her laptop shut, the sound echoing in the quiet room. Maison Vellieux had underestimated her, and that was their second mistake. Emma leaned back in her chair, her mind replaying the day's events. The memory of Olivia's smug smile and the influencer's laughter stung like a fresh wound. She wasn't just angry, she felt betrayed. Maison Vellieux wasn't just a brand. It was a symbol of the world she'd fought to enter, a world where she'd earned her place through relentless ambition. Her company, Neural Nest, had revolutionized AI-driven analytics, landing her on Forbes' 30 Under 30 list 2 years running. She'd faced down venture capitalists who questioned her vision and competitors who underestimated her resolve. Yet, in that store, she'd been reduced to an afterthought, invisible despite her Hermes Kelly bag and tailored blazer. The email was the final straw, a dismissive pat on the head that confirmed Maison Vellieux didn't care. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a text from Sarah Bennett, her assistant and confidant, who'd been with her since Neural Nest's scrappy startup days. Asterisk dinner tomorrow at Nobu? You sounded off earlier. Asterisk, Emma smiled faintly. Sarah had a knack for reading her mood, even through a brief phone call. She typed back, asterisk, yes, 7 p.m. Invite Rachel too. We need to talk. Asterisk Rachel Nguyen, Emma's best friend and a fashion influencer with 1 million followers on TikTok and X, would be the perfect ally for what was brewing in her mind. Emma wasn't one to stew in defeat, she was a strategist, and she was already plotting her next move. The next evening, the trio sat at a corner table in Nobu's sleek Malibu outpost, the Pacific Ocean shimmering beyond the windows. The restaurant buzzed with LA's elite actors, tech moguls, and influencers snapping photos of their sushi. Emma, dressed in a black cashmere sweater and jeans, sipped a yuzu martini, her Hermes bag resting on the chair beside her. Sarah, a sharp-witted brunette in her late 20s, scrolled through her tablet, organizing Emma's schedule for the upcoming gala. Rachel, with her signature bob and a sequin blazer, was already halfway through her second glass of sake, her energy as vibrant as her social media feed. So, spill it, Rachel said, leaning forward. You've got that look like you're about to take down a rival startup. What happened at Maison Vellieux? Emma recounted the story. Olivia's snide comments, the staff's obsession with the influencers, the refusal of a glass of water. Sarah's eyes widened, and Rachel's jaw dropped. They did what? Rachel exclaimed, loud enough to turn heads. Girl, you were carrying a Kelly bag. That's like a $30,000 flex. And they treated you like a nobody? It's not about the bag, Emma said, her voice low but intense. It's about respect. I've spent my life proving I belong in boardrooms, at tech conferences, everywhere. And then I walk into Maison Vellieux, and it's like I'm invisible. I emailed their corporate office, called their hotline, and all I got was a lousy discount code. They don't care. Sarah frowned, setting her tablet down. That's unacceptable. Maison Vellieux's whole brand is about exclusivity, but that doesn't mean they get to treat customers like garbage. What are you going to do? Emma's eyes glinted with determination. "I'm going back," she said. "But this time, I'm not leaving humiliated. I'm going to make them regret it." Rachel's face lit up, sensing a story that could go viral. "Okay, I'm in. Tell me more." Over plates of black cod and sashimi, Emma outlined her plan. She would return to the Maison Vellieux store, armed with enough cash and clout to command attention. She'd pretend to shop for a massive purchase bags, gowns, the works, making the staff jump through hoops to serve her. Then, at the last moment, she'd walk away, leaving them empty-handed. "It's not just about me," Emma said. "It's about showing them they can't treat people like that and get away with it." Rachel clapped her hands, her rings catching. "The light. This is iconic. We need to film it." Subtly, of course, no one gets away with snubbing Emma Larson. "I'll post it on TikTok and X with hashtag VELLIEUX fail. It'll be the revenge of the year." Sarah, ever the pragmatist, raised an eyebrow. "Bold, but risky. You sure you want to take it this far?" Emma nodded. "I've played nice my whole life. This time, I'm playing to win." The plan took shape over the next hour. Emma would withdraw $100,000 in cash, enough to make a statement without raising security flags at the store. She'd also bring her American Express Centurion card, the elusive black card that signaled unlimited spending power. Sarah would compile a list of Maison Vellieux's priciest items: a Vellieux monogram trunk, a sequined haute couture gown, a limited edition silk scarf. Rachel would handle the social media strategy, filming discreetly to capture the staff's reactions without violating store policies. "We need to time it perfectly," Rachel said, pulling out her phone to check her analytics. "Weekends are peak for Rodeo Drive. The store will be packed and the staff will be under pressure. That's when we strike." As they finalized details, Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. This wasn't just about personal vindication, it was a statement. In 2025, the luxury world was a battlefield, with brands like Maison Vellieux fighting to stay relevant amid fierce competition. X was flooded with stories of retail fails, from Gucci's racial profiling scandal in 2024 to Prada's viral backlash over rude staff. The cancel culture wave was at its peak, with consumers wielding social media like a weapon to hold brands accountable. Emma knew her story could resonate far beyond Rodeo Drive, especially with Rachel's platform amplifying it. A single post on X could reach millions, and a TikTok video could spark a movement. She wasn't just planning revenge, she was planning a reckoning. By the time they left Nobu, the plan was airtight. Sarah would coordinate logistics, contacting Emma's bank to arrange the cash withdrawal and ensuring the gala preparations stayed on track. Rachel was already drafting captions, her fingers flying over her phone. "This is going to be bigger than that influencer who exposed Chanel last year," she said, grinning. Emma felt a flicker of doubt. Was she taking it too far? But then she remembered Olivia's smirk, the influencer's laughter, the email that treated her like an inconvenience. No, she thought. They brought this on themselves. Back in her penthouse, Emma stood by her window, staring at the city below. Los Angeles was a place of dreams and deals, where power shifted with a single viral moment. She opened X on her phone, scrolling through posts about luxury retail horrors. One user wrote, "Asterisk. Why do these brands act like they're doing us a favor by taking our money?" Another posted a video of a snubbed customer at a rival store, captioned #luxuryfail. Emma's resolve hardened. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for everyone who'd ever felt dismissed, overlooked, or undervalued. Maison Vellieux was about to learn that money wasn't the only currency that mattered. Respect was. The Rodeo Drive sun blazed down on a Saturday morning in September 2025, turning the street into a glittering runway of wealth and ambition. Emma Larson stepped out of her sleek black Tesla, her Hermes Kelly bag gleaming like a ruby in the California light. She wore a tailored emerald green jumpsuit that hugged her frame, her blonde hair cascading in loose waves, a deliberate upgrade from the understated look she'd worn 2 months ago at Maison Vellieux. Today, she wasn't just a customer. She was a force. Flanking her were Sarah Bennett, her assistant, clutching a tablet with a meticulously curated shopping list, and Rachel Nguyen, her influencer friend, whose phone was already discreetly recording. Disguised as a casual scroll through X inside Emma's Louis Vuitton valise ironic, given the target was $100,000 in crisp $100 bills, a statement of power that would soon leave the Maison Vellieux staff scrambling. This was the day Emma would turn humiliation into triumph. The Maison Vellieux flagship store loomed ahead, its glass facade reflecting the bustling street. Inside, the store buzzed with weekend energy. Wealthy shoppers browsing Vellieux monogram, bags, influencers snapping selfies, and staff darting between displays. The air was thick with the scent of leather and ambition, the chandeliers casting a golden glow over marble floors. Emma's heart pounded not with nerves, but with anticipation. She'd spent weeks planning this moment, fueled by the sting of Olivia Carter's condescension and Maison Vellieux's dismissive email. Today, they'd learn what it cost to underestimate Emma Larson-Dodd as the trio crossed the threshold, heads turned. Emma's jumpsuit and Hermes bag were a quiet flex, but it was her aura calm, commanding, untouchable that drew eyes. Sarah adjusted her glasses, her tablet glowing with a list of Maison Vellieux's priciest items. A $25,000 monogram trunk, a $15,000 sequined oak couture gown, a $3,000 limited edition silk scarf. Rachel, in a metallic mini dress, pretended to check her phone, her camera capturing every detail through a subtle lens. The plan was simple but ruthless. Overwhelm the staff with demands, push them to the brink of servility, then walk away with nothing but their regret. Olivia Carter, the store manager, stood behind a counter, her severe bob and Vellieux scarf as impeccable as ever. She didn't recognize Emma at first, her eyes scanning the trio with practiced detachment. But when Emma approached, her voice clear and deliberate, Olivia's composure faltered. "Good morning," Emma said, her smile sharp. "I'm here to make a significant purchase. I'd like to see your most exclusive pieces, the new Oak Couture collection, the monogram trunk, and anything limited edition you have in stock." Olivia's eyes flickered to the Hermes bag, then to Emma's face, a faint spark of recognition dawning. "Of course," she said, her tone warmer than it had been 2 months ago. "Let me get someone to assist you." Mia, the brunette employee, who'd ignored Emma before, hurried over, her smile forced but eager. Ethan, the lanky salesman, joined her, sensing a big commission. "We'd be happy to show you the collection," Mia said, gesturing toward a private consultation area. Emma nodded, her expression unreadable. "I'd like to see everything," she said. "And I'll need multiple sizes for the gowns. I'm hosting a gala, and I want options." Sarah handed Mia the list, her demeanor all business. Rachel, meanwhile, lingered near a display, her phone angled to capture the interaction without drawing suspicion. The staff sprang into action, their earlier arrogance replaced by a frantic desire to please. Mia dashed to the back, returning with a rack of shimmering gowns, silk chiffons, and beaded satins from Maison Vellieux's latest Paris runway. Ethan hauled out a monogram trunk, its leather gleaming under the lights. "This is a one-of-a-kind piece," he said, his voice dripping with salesmanship. "Only 5 were made worldwide." Emma ran her fingers over the trunk, her face a mask of feigned interest. "It's lovely," she said, "but I'd like to try the gowns first, all of them." The next hour was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Emma moved through the consultation area like a queen holding court, trying on gown after gown. She twirled in a sapphire blue dress, then swapped it for a crimson one, each change accompanied by precise demands. Can you adjust the lighting? I need to see the sequins. Is this available in a smaller size? I'd like to see it with the matching clutch. Mia and Ethan scurried back and forth, their foreheads glistening with sweat as they fetched items from the stockroom. Olivia hovered nearby, her smile increasingly strained. Other customers glanced over, intrigued by the spectacle. Rachel captured it all, her phone tucked into her palm, her face a picture of casual boredom. Emma's requests grew bolder. She asked for a second monogram trunk, then a third, claiming she was considering a set for her penthouse. She demanded to see every limited edition scarf, inspecting each with exaggerated care. This one's nice, she said, holding up a $3,000 silk piece, but I'd need it in 3 colors. Can you check the inventory? Ethan nodded, practically sprinting to the back. Sarah, playing her role perfectly, took notes on her tablet, murmuring about budget allocations. The staff, sensing a sale that could make their month, doubled their efforts. Their earlier dismissal of Emma, a distant memory. Then came the moment of truth. Emma gestured to the valise, which Sarah placed on the counter with a soft thud. I'll be paying in cash for most of this, Emma said, her voice calm but commanding, and the rest on my Centurion card. She flipped open the valise, revealing stacks of $100 bills, neatly banded and unmistakably real. Olivia's eyes widened, and Mia let out a small gasp. The sight of $100,000 in cash was rare, even on Rodeo Drive, and it drew a small crowd of curious shoppers. We'll need to verify the funds, Olivia said, her voice tight. Emma nodded graciously. Of course. Take your time. The counting began. Mia and Ethan, under Olivia's watchful eye, spread the bills across a backroom table, their hands trembling slightly as they tallied the sum. The process took nearly an hour, with the staff pausing to double-check, their faces a mix of awe and anxiety. Rachel, still filming, caught every moment, their frantic whispers, Olivia's forced smile, the growing tension in the air. Other customers whispered among themselves, some pulling out their phones to snap photos. Emma stood serenely, sipping a glass of water, ironic, given her earlier request offered by a flustered Mia. Sarah checked her watch, her expression neutral, but her eyes gleaming with amusement. Finally, Olivia emerged, her clipboard clutched tightly. The funds are verified, she said, her voice tinged with relief. We can proceed with the purchase. Which items would you like to finalize? The moment hung in the air, electric with anticipation. Emma smiled, her gaze locking with Olivia's. Thank you for your effort, she said, her tone as smooth as silk. You've been so attentive today, but I've changed my mind. I won't be buying anything. She snapped the valise shut, the sound echoing like a gavel. Sarah gathered her tablet, and Rachel slipped her phone into her pocket, her mission complete. The trio turned toward the door, leaving a stunned silence in their wake. Olivia's face froze, her lips parting in disbelief. But the items, she stammered. You said. Emma cut her off with a polite nod. I appreciate your time, she said, but I don't reward poor service. Have a nice day. With that, she strode out, Sarah and Rachel at her side, the glass doors hissing shut behind them. The crowd murmured, some chuckling, others snapping photos of the valise as it disappeared into the sunlight. Emma's heart soared, the weight of her earlier humiliation replaced by a fierce, triumphant joy. Outside, the trio paused on Rodeo Drive, the valise heavy in Emma's hand. Rachel was already editing the video, her fingers flying over her phone. This is going viral, she said, grinning. Sarah shook her head, a wry smile on her lips. You're insane, Emma, but I love it. Emma looked back at the store, its gleaming facade now a symbol of her victory. This wasn't just about her. It was about every customer who'd been dismissed, every person who'd been made to feel small. In 2025, Rodeo Drive was a battleground of status, and Emma had just won the war. The Los Angeles sunset painted the sky in hues of pink and gold as Emma Larson, Sarah Bennett, and Rachel Nguyen stepped out of a sleek cafe on Rodeo Drive, the adrenaline of their Maison Vellieux coup still coursing through them. It was mere hours after Emma's audacious walkout, leaving the store's staff stunned and a valise of $100,000 untouched. Rachel, her fingers dancing across her phone, was already editing the video she'd covertly filmed. Every moment of the staff's fawning, the cash-counting frenzy, and Emma's triumphant exit captured in crisp 4K. This is going to break the internet, Rachel said, her eyes gleaming with the certainty of a seasoned influencer. Emma sipped her latte, a faint smile playing on her lips. She'd planned for satisfaction, but what unfolded next was a wildfire she hadn't fully anticipated, a media storm that would turn her personal vendetta into a cultural moment. By 8 p.m. that Saturday, Rachel uploaded the video to TikTok and X, carefully edited to maximize impact. The 3-minute clip opened with a shot of the Maison Vellieux storefront, its glass facade gleaming like a fortress of exclusivity. Text overlay read, asterisk, ever been snubbed by a luxury brand? This is what happens when you fight back. Asterisk. The video cut to Emma's poised entrance, her Hermes Kelly bag catching the light. Then to the staff's frantic efforts to please her fetching gowns, hauling trunks, counting stacks of cash. The final frame showed Emma's cool declaration. I've changed my mind. I won't be buying anything. Rachel's voiceover narrated the backstory. Emma's humiliation 2 months prior, the dismissive corporate email, and her decision to teach Maison Vellieux a lesson. The hashtags #VELLIEUX fail and #luxury fail punctuated the post. A call to arms for anyone who'd ever felt dismissed by a brand's arrogance. The response was instantaneous. By midnight, the TikTok video had racked up 500,000 views, with X posts amplifying it further. Users flooded the comments with fire emojis and praise. Asterisk, queen behavior, one wrote. This is the revenge we all dream of, another added. A user on X posted, asterisk, Maison Vellieux just got schooled. Don't mess with Emma Larson. The video's virality tapped into a raw nerve. 2025 was the peak of luxury shaming, where customers use social media to call out high-end brands for poor service. Just the previous year, a Gucci store in New York had faced a similar backlash when a viral X thread exposed racial profiling, sparking boycotts and apologies. Emma's story resonated because it wasn't just about her. It was about every customer who'd been judged, ignored, or dismissed. By Sunday morning, the video had surpassed 2 million views, trending on TikTok's For You page and dominating X's #luxury fail hashtag. Rachel, a master of social media strategy, kept the momentum going, reposting fan reactions and adding cryptic captions. Asterisk, who else has a Vellieux horror story? Spill the tea. The internet obliged. X users shared tales of being snubbed at luxury stores, from being offered last season's leftovers to being ignored for not looking the part. One viral thread recounted a customer being asked to leave a Maison Vellieux store in Miami for lingering too long without buying. Another user posted a photo of their own Hermes bag, captioned, asterisk, guess I need to pull an Emma Larson next time they ignore me. The #VELLIEUX fail trended alongside #cancel VELLIEUX, a nod to the cancel culture that had toppled brands for lesser sins. Emma, meanwhile, watched the frenzy unfold from her penthouse. She'd expected some attention. Rachel's 1 million followers guaranteed that. but the scale was staggering. Her phone buzzed with notifications. Friends texting congratulations, colleagues sharing the video, even strangers tagging her in X posts. Sarah, ever the pragmatist, monitored the analytics on her tablet. "You're at 5 million views combined," she said, her voice a mix of awe and caution. "This is bigger than we planned. Are you ready for what comes next?" Emma nodded, but a flicker of unease crossed her mind. She'd wanted to teach Maison Vellieux a lesson, but had she started something she couldn't control? The media soon caught wind. On Monday, James Parker, a Vogue journalist known for his incisive takes on fashion's underbelly, DM'd Emma on X*. "Heard about your rodeo drive moment. Care to share your side?" Emma hesitated. She wasn't seeking fame. Her tech empire kept her busy enough. But Rachel saw an opportunity. "This is your chance to control the narrative," she urged. "Tell the world why you did it. Make it about more than revenge." Emma agreed, meeting James at a discreet coffee shop in West Hollywood. Over cappuccinos, she recounted her story. The initial snub, the dismissive email, the decision to fight back. "It's not about the money," she told him, her blue eyes steady. "It's about respect. No one should feel small for walking into a store, no matter who they are." James's article, published on Vogue's website Tuesday morning, was titled "The $100,000 Walkout: How One Woman Took on Maison Vellieux and Won." It detailed Emma's tech success, her charity gala, and the viral video framing her as a modern-day Robin Hood for the luxury set. Emma Larson didn't just expose Maison Vellieux's service flaws, James wrote. She ignited a conversation about who luxury is for and who gets to define it. The article went viral, shared across X, Instagram, and Reddit, with comments ranging from "she's a legend" to "this is why I shop indie designers now." But not everyone was on her side. A vocal minority on X called her actions petty, with one user writing, "She wasted their time for clout. That's not justice, it's ego." Another accused her of bullying the staff. "Olivia's just doing her job. Why ruin her day?" The backlash stung, but Emma expected it. Social media in 2025 was a double-edged sword, amplifying voices but inviting scrutiny. Rachel countered the critics with a follow-up post, sharing screenshots of Maison Vellieux's generic email response to Emma's complaint. "This is what they sent her after treating her like garbage," Rachel wrote. "If you're defending this, you're part of the problem." The post reignited support, with #VELLIEUX failed trending. Again, Emma, reading the comments, felt a mix of pride and responsibility. Her actions had sparked a movement, but they'd also put a spotlight on her. She wasn't just a tech CEO anymore, she was a symbol. The public discourse grew heated. On Reddit's "Our Luxury Watch," users debated the ethics of Emma's stunt. Some praised her for exposing the elitism baked into luxury retail. Others argued she'd exploited her wealth to make a point. A popular X thread analyzed the video frame by frame, noting Olivia's strained smile and the staff's desperation. "You can see the moment they realize they've been played," one user wrote, attaching a zoomed-in screenshot of Olivia's face. Another thread speculated about Maison Vellieux's next move. "They're gonna have to fire someone or issue a big apology. No way they let this slide." Emma's gala loomed, and the attention began to spill into her professional life. Neural Nest's PR team fielded calls from outlets like the New York Times and Forbes, eager to tie her tech success to her viral moment. Sarah, ever vigilant, flagged a few negative X posts accusing Emma of performative activism. "We need to stay ahead of this," Sarah said, drafting a statement emphasizing Emma's commitment to fairness. Emma, however, was more reflective. Sitting in her penthouse, she scrolled through the comments, some calling her a hero, others a spoiled brat. Had she gone too far? Or had she done exactly what was needed to shake up a system that thrived on exclusivity? The storm showed no signs of slowing. By Wednesday, the video had hit 10 million views, and hashtag VELLIEUX fail was a global trend. Maison Vellieux's silence was deafening, their official X account posting only generic ads for their fall collection. Emma knew they'd have to respond soon. The luxury world in 2025 was unforgiving, with brands like Prada and Gucci still recovering from similar scandals. As she prepared for her gala, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Her revenge had been personal, but it had become something bigger, a spark that could either illuminate or burn. The Los Angeles skyline shimmered under a late September dawn in 2025. But inside Emma Larson's penthouse, the glow came from her phone screen, a light with notifications. The hashtag VELLIEUX fail hashtag had dominated X for nearly a week, with Rachel Nguyen's viral video now at 12 million views across TikTok and X. Emma, sipping her morning espresso, scrolled through the latest comments. Some hailed her as a champion of customer rights. Others debated the ethics of her stunt. The media storm had turned her revenge against Maison Vellieux into a cultural flashpoint, and the luxury brand's silence was becoming unsustainable. Emma knew they'd have to respond soon. 2025 was an unforgiving year for brands, caught in the crosshairs of cancel culture. As she prepared for her charity gala, she braced for the next chapter of her story, one that would test her resolve and reveal the true cost of her triumph. On Thursday morning, Maison Vellieux broke their silence. Their official X account posted a carefully worded statement, pinned to the top of their feed. Asterisk. We're aware of the recent incident at our rodeo, Drive flagship, and deeply regret any experience that fell short of our standards. Maison Vellieux is committed to inclusivity and exceptional service. We are conducting a thorough investigation and implementing immediate training to ensure this does not happen again. Thank you for holding us accountable. The statement was accompanied by a glossy photo of their latest Vellieux monogram bag, a move that sparked immediate backlash. Ex-users pounced. Asterisk. An apology with an ad? Tone deaf. Asterisk one wrote. Another posted. Asterisk. Too late, Vellieux. Emma Larson already exposed you. The hashtag cancel VELLIEUX surged, trending alongside #VELLIEUX failed by Friday. Reports surfaced on X that Olivia Carter, the Rodeo Drive store manager, had been temporarily suspended pending the investigation. A leaked internal memo, shared by an anonymous retail worker on Reddit, revealed that Maison Vellieux's corporate office was scrambling to contain the damage. The memo outlined plans for mandatory sensitivity training and a revised customer service protocol across all U.S. stores. The news divided the online community. Some ex-users cheered. Asterisk good. Olivia's attitude started this mess. Others felt the suspension was a scapegoating tactic. Asterisk. Firing the manager doesn't fix the culture. Vellieux needs to do better. Emma, reading the updates, felt a pang of ambivalence. She'd wanted accountability, but seeing Olivia singled out stirred a flicker of guilt. Had she targeted the wrong person, or was Olivia's suspension a necessary step? The luxury retail landscape in 2025 was a minefield. Brands like Gucci and Prada were still recovering from 2024 scandals involving discriminatory service, with boycotts and lawsuits forcing them to overhaul their practices. Maison Vellieux, aware of the stakes, doubled down on damage control. On Saturday, their U.S. CEO issued a video apology on Instagram, standing in front of the Rodeo Drive store. "We've heard your concerns," she said, her tone polished but sincere. Maison Vellieux is investing in comprehensive training to ensure every customer feels valued. We're grateful for the opportunity to grow. The video was better received, with some ex-users noting, asterisk, at least they're trying now. Let's see if they follow through. But the apology didn't erase the damage. Sales reports leaked to WWD suggested a 15% drop in foot traffic at the Rodeo Drive store. Since the video went viral, a stark reminder of social media's power. Emma, meanwhile, faced a deluge of attention. Her charity gala, supporting women in STEM, was days away, and the viral story had turned her into a reluctant celebrity. Invitations flooded in. Chanel offered a private shopping experience. Gucci sent a handwritten note promising VIP treatment. Emma declined them all. "I'm not here to be courted," she told Sarah over a late-night call. "I don't want special treatment because I'm famous now. I want brands to treat everyone right." Sarah, ever practical, nodded. "Fair, but this could open doors for Neural Nest. Investors love a bold story." Emma shook her head. "This isn't about my company. It's about principle." Inspired by the gala's mission, Emma made a bold move. She donated the $100,000 she'd brought to Maison Vellieux to a nonprofit supporting women entrepreneurs in tech, announcing the gift on X with a simple post. Asterisk, money talks, but respect matters more. Donating to empower women who've been underestimated, just like I was. The post went viral, earning praise from activists and tech leaders alike. A Forbes columnist tweeted, asterisk, Emma Larson didn't just take on Maison Vellieux, she's redefining power and luxury in tech. Rachel amplified the message, reposting with, asterisk, this is why we stand. Hashtag Vellieux failed turned into hashtag women in tech win. Asterisk, the donation shifted the narrative. Where critics had called Emma's stunt petty, they now saw her as a philanthropist using her platform for good. Ex-users shared stories of women in STEM who'd faced similar dismissals, tagging Emma as an inspiration. A viral thread recounted a young coder who'd been ignored at a tech conference, only to launch a successful app a year later. This is the Emma Larson effect, the user wrote. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Emma read the thread, her chest tightening with emotion. Her revenge had started as a personal act, but it had sparked something bigger, a call for respect and equity that resonated far beyond Rodeo Drive. Yet, the spotlight wasn't all flattering. Some ex-users accused Emma of exploiting her wealth for clout, arguing that her $100,000 stunt was out of touch in a post-recession economy. Most of us can't drop six figures to prove a point, one user wrote. Emma took the criticism in stride, meeting with James Parker, the Vogue journalist, for a follow-up interview. I know not everyone can do what I did, she told him, but that's why I spoke up. If someone with my resources can't get respect, what about everyone else? The article, published online, framed her as a catalyst for change, noting the broader trend of luxury brands investing in customer service reforms to avoid similar scandals. As the gala approached, Emma reflected on her journey. Sitting in her penthouse, she looked at the crimson Hermes Kelly bag, now a symbol of both her status and her defiance. She'd set out to teach Maison Vellieux a lesson, but the experience had taught her something too. Revenge felt good, but impact felt better. The donation, the viral movement, the stories from others, it all reminded her why she'd fought so hard to succeed in tech. She wasn't just building algorithms. She was building a world where no one had to feel invisible. Maison Vellieux. Reforms were a start, but Emma knew change wouldn't happen overnight. The luxury industry in 2025 was under scrutiny, with consumers demanding accountability and brands racing to adapt. Ex-posts speculated about Olivia's fate. Some said she'd been fired, others that she'd been quietly reassigned. Emma didn't care about the specifics. She'd made her point, and the world was watching. As she finalized her gala speech, she felt a quiet resolve. This wasn't the end, it was a beginning. The ballroom of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel glowed under a canopy of crystal chandeliers, the air alive with the clink of champagne glasses and the murmur of Los Angeles elite. It was the evening of Emma Larson's charity gala in late September 2025, a star-studded event to raise funds for women in STEM. The room buzzed with tech moguls, celebrities, and influencers, all gathered to support a cause that had become synonymous with Emma's name. But tonight, Emma wasn't wearing a Maison Vellieux gown. Instead, she shimmered in a flowing, emerald green dress by an up-and-coming indie designer, a deliberate choice that spoke louder than any luxury logo. Her crimson Hermes Kelly bag rested on a nearby chair, a quiet reminder of her journey from humiliation to triumph. As she stepped to the podium, the crowd hushed, their eyes fixed on the woman who turned a personal slight into a global conversation. Emma's speech was brief but powerful. "Tonight isn't about me," she said, her voice steady and warm. "It's about the women who've been told they don't belong in tech, in business, in spaces meant to exclude them. I've been there, and I know how it feels to be dismissed. But we don't stay silent. We rise, we build, and we change the world." The room erupted in applause, cameras flashing as ex-users tweeted her words with hashtags like #WomenInTech and #EmmaLarson. Rachel Nguyen, seated at a front table in a sequin gown, beamed, her phone already posting clips to her million followers. Sarah Bennett, ever the organizer, stood offstage, coordinating with the event staff, her tablet glowing with donation updates. The gala was a success, raising over $2 million, including the $100,000 Emma had donated from her Maison Vellieux stunt dot. As the night wound down, Emma slipped away to a quiet balcony overlooking Beverly Hills. The city sparkled below, a mosaic of ambition and dreams. She thought back to that day at Maison Vellieux, when Olivia Carter's sneer and the staff's indifference had lit a fire in her. Her revenge, walking out with $100,000 in cash and leaving the store empty-handed, had been satisfying, but the aftermath was transformative. The viral hashtag VELLIEUX fail video, now at 15 million views, had sparked a movement. X and TikTok were flooded with stories of customers demanding better treatment from luxury brands, and Maison Vellieux's reform sensitivity training revised. Protocols were being hailed as a step forward, though skeptics on X noted, let's see if they actually change. Emma's actions had rippled beyond Rodeo Drive. Her donation to the Women in Tech nonprofit had funded scholarships for young coders, one of whom, a 19-year-old from Oakland, sent Emma a heartfelt email. Your story made me believe I can make it, even when people look past me. Reading it, Emma had felt a lump in her throat. Her tech empire, Neural Nest, was thriving, but this connection, this impact felt bigger. She'd started with a personal grudge but ended with a platform to amplify others. Rachel's relentless social media campaign had kept the story alive, with #VELLIEUX fail evolving into #respect over riches, a call for fairness in every industry. The next morning, Emma, Sarah, and Rachel met at a cozy West Hollywood cafe, the same one where they'd celebrated post-revenge. Over lattes and avocado toast, they laughed about the whirlwind week, the viral video, the Vogue article, the gala's success. Rachel scrolled through X, reading aloud a post from a user named it Style with Purpose. Emma Larson reminded us that power isn't just money. It's standing up for what's right. Thank you. Sarah, sipping her coffee, raised an eyebrow. You've started something, Emma. What's next? Taking on another luxury brand? Emma chuckled, shaking her head. One's enough. I'd rather keep building scholarships, mentorships, real change. Her words reflected a deeper shift. The Maison Vellieux incident had been a catalyst, forcing Emma to confront her own values. Revenge had felt good, but its true power lay in what it inspired: a conversation about respect, equity, and accountability. In 2025, the luxury world was under scrutiny, with brands racing to adapt to a consumer base that demanded more than status symbols. Ex-posts praised Maison Vellieux's reforms, but warned, "We're watching. Don't slip up again." Emma's story had become a symbol, not just of defiance, but of possibility, a reminder that one voice, amplified by courage and community, could shift the narrative. As the trio left the cafe, the morning sun casting long shadows on the sidewalk, Emma felt lighter than she had in months. She'd walked into Maison Vellieux seeking a gown and left with a mission. The world had seen her not as a victim, but as a force, a woman who'd turned humiliation into empowerment. And as she glanced at her phone, where a new X notification popped up with #respect over riches, she knew this was only the beginning. Emma Larson's journey offers profound lessons about power, respect, and the ripple effects of standing up for what's right. Her story began with a personal slight, a moment of disrespect in a luxury store, but it grew into a universal call for fairness. In a world where wealth and status often dictate treatment, Emma showed that true power lies in demanding respect, not just for oneself, but for everyone. Her $100,000 donation to women in STEM wasn't just a gesture. It was a commitment to uplifting those who've been overlooked, proving that actions born of frustration can lead to meaningful change. The #VELLIEUX fail movement highlighted the strength of community amplified by social media in 2025, where voices unite to hold powerful institutions accountable. Emma's legacy teaches us that courage, paired with purpose, can transform a single act into a movement. It's a reminder to stand tall, speak out, and use our influence to build a world where no one feels invisible. If Emma's story moved you, there's more where it came from. Legacy Stories is your home for narratives that inspire, challenge, and uplift tales of ordinary people creating extraordinary change. From acts of defiance to moments of compassion, we share stories that spark conversations and ignite action. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube or follow us on X to never miss a story that could change the way you see the world. Join the Legacy Stories community today, and let's keep the momentum going, because every story has the power to make a difference.